there's suddenly a couple of hundred more of you. Hello, I know why you're here. For those of you who don't care about me talking, as always, here's a timestamp. The rest of you that feel kind of bad about leaving me in the dust can stay for my little yap session. I promise I'm gonna keep it short. This is a art creation pocket sketchbook that I filled within 7 days. And oh my god, were those 7 days intense. I'm sure a lot of you have come from that video. The algorithm gods kind of blessed me and picked that one up real quick. So hello. I don't like this sketchbook. I don't like the color of the paper. I don't like the weight of the paper, okay? I think the cover's a nice, pretty color, and I think it's a nice, sturdy cover, and I like the size. I just don't like art creation paper. That's fine. If you do, honestly, more power to you, because these motherfuckers are cheap. I wish I loved this paper so that I didn't have to shell out for a fucking 𝐬𝐨𝐜𝐚 every single time. And now we are joining the skippers. See you at the end if you're willing to actually stay until that part. Hi and welcome to the meat and potatoes of every sketchbook tour, the overhead shot. 4 of the stickers on the front of the sketchbook are from actual artists that I know. Both the horse and the fish are Patreon stickers, so also not able to just buy them. And the Wimbles art one is a freebie, so you can't buy that one either, I think. Sucks to be you if you wanted any of these stickers. The sketchbook is by Art Creation. It's got 80 pages. It's a pocket size, and I filled it within a week. Look at me. Started it on the 4th of November, finished it on the 10th. When I started the sketchbook, I think I was very focused on like, I need to finish this. I'm not very happy with any of the first pages because it was more of a focus for me to finish the pages than it was to like enjoy what I was drawing. So these are like not things that I enjoy looking at. The first drawing, I did realize I hate hands, so I did a couple of pages of hand studies, obviously, and I made a revelation that I'm like putting the fingers way too far out on the hands. Figured it out, very proud of that. On the right, I tried to plan out like little matching charms. I have like a 3rd grader bought Shrink-a-Dink and I'm getting about as much joy from it as a 3rd grader as well. The sad idea that I have for a sticker that I've had for months. Nobody steal this. I'm gonna be so pissed if you do. But it's for a sticker that says, ask me about my Spotify Wrapped. As a self-proclaimed nosy person, I love Spotify Wrapped. I don't get the people that are like, don't post your Spotify Wrapped, I don't care. I do. I painted a pear. Let's try to say that quickly 3 times. I painted a pear. It's like somewhat realistic, but not particularly. I enjoy blockiness of the color. It's something that I have a tendency to mess up. I have a tendency to overblend and it just looks weird. I also painted an apple. That apple is like maybe one of the better things in this sketchbook. Looking at it now, kind of want to make it into a sticker. This is Tomboy marker. Hey, can you guys, like the motorbike? I don't think I've drawn a motorcycle since I was a child. But like, is this not kind of good? Hello? Oh, yippee, teeth. Hey, do we all remember how through Peachtober I had this weird fascination with teeth? It kept going, apparently. This is another, perhaps one of the best spreads in the sketchbook. The portrait. I tried to replicate it throughout the entire sketchbook. Maybe we should start a timer for every time I try to replicate this, honestly. I think it was the colors, so I'm going to have to just look back at the footage to see exactly which markers I used so that I can try to do a bigger portrait using those colors. Because this slaps. Like, the portrait is amazing to look at. It's so cool. I made the little bee stamp for Pinterest Roulette. I mean, it looks cute. And then I glued in a singular piece of scrap paper. And it looks nice. This entire spread looks good. I drew a house. I love drawing houses. This house I made up in my head, which might be why it's like somewhat like, I'm not saying that the proportions are right, but at least there's no reference picture that anyone can find somewhere where you can be like, oh, this looks jacked up, because I made this house up in my head. The tulips, I painted these tulips last year, still haven't gotten over them. I really like these tulips. These are sticker ideas. Can you guys tell that I have a lot of ideas for like stickers and then I just never make them? How fun would these be though? Little mailboxes that say fan mail only and hate mail only. Once again, hello. Okay, so here we see the first attempt at replicating the vibes I got from the marker portrait. Didn't happen. I mean, the one on the right, not as much of a attempt at replicating, but on the one on the left, very clearly I was trying to chase the feeling. Neither one of these are particularly good. I don't think the color combinations are great. The color combinations on the left are clearly worse than on the right, but the ones on the right aren't very good either. Then we have two chickens. And I'm not usually a watercolor painter, which makes this like even weirder to look at, because I posted these on my Instagram stories and people, like some people were really excited about them. And they felt so far out of anything that I've probably ever created. It was weird. Oh, this sucks. Jesus Christ. I was taking requests on Instagram story and I went in with absolutely no plan. And you can tell. It looks like something I would have done in like the 4th grade. To be honest, it's not. No. I don't want to talk about it. And then there's a cat. A sheriff cat. I think yeah, you can clearly tell I did it with a brush pen for some reason. So like the lines are wonky. This entire spread is a mess. Then I pulled out my acrylic paints and did some just color studies, just mixing colors, to be quite honest. I am trying to be much better at being conscious of color choices, because I have a tendency to just kind of wing it and then get real frustrated when the color isn't doing what I want it to. Knowing, like deep down, knowing that if I just paid like a minuscule amount of attention to it, I could figure the color out, probably. But I don't, so. This is also ugly. I really like doing portraits. Everyone has probably figured that out by now. And I really like doing portraits where I'm just randomly switching out the colors that I'm using at the time. In this case, I was using colored pencils, but I'll also do it with, you know, fine liners and Tombows. With markers, I kind of have to rely more on the value. But when it's literally just line drawing and kind of like shading in things, it's anyone's guess what colored pencil I am going to pick up next. I don't know why, but I love the bag. It's a bag. I think this is just like a cute little spray. Like, it's not anything impressive, but I don't know. I like it. Oh. And then there's the birth of Gronk. If you watch the vlog, I was like kind of losing my mind over this little guy. His name is Gronk. In my head, I feel like I've created lore about Gronk in my head as well. Not proportional in any sense. His head is very small, tiny hands and feet, and he's just small brain, big body, and huge heart. That is Gronk to me. Obviously, you can tell that Gronk does love flowers, and Gronk also loves his bicycle. Gronk also loves his bathtub. Or his Gronk tub, as I dubbed it, obviously. Don't pay attention to what was supposed to be a rubber duck that was supposed to be in his hands. Gronk's not particularly critical about his rubber ducks, okay? They can be a little deformed, that's fine. Gronk doesn't care. Gronk's full of love. In another attempt, and like, this is a good idea on paper. This idea is on paper, this idea is good in theory. Looking at dance videos, specifically here, I was looking at, and I'm realizing now I am missing an H, so I'm not looking at the Whiplash dance practice video, I'm looking at Whiplash by Espa. You just kind of pause it at random moments, and it's a really great way of studying anatomy and the way the body moves. Sometimes when there's like foreshortening and stuff, I don't know how to make that look correct. Like sometimes it just looks like I'm bad at proportions, to be quite honest. Oh yeah, and then there's another attempt apparently at trying to call out the vibes of that portrait. Once again, wrong color palette. Didn't happen this time either. And then I pulled out my really cheap wax pastels, and I'm not a huge fan of messy art supplies. And there's a limit to how much control you can have when you are working with wax pastels. At some point, you're working with like a stump. You can't really do details, especially not at the size that I am working with in this sketchbook. I am honestly impressed that I didn't lose it. And then I found, this is the thing about doing a 1 week sketchbook challenge. You are going at some point to be like, all right, what art supplies can I pull out from like some drawer that I have not opened in 6 months? I never use my metallic markers ever, but at some point I was like, why not? Why not? You know, this is a cat. If anyone was wondering, there's something so funny about a fisheye lens. I don't care what you're photographing. Anything seen with a fisheye lens is funny. Here we go. I pulled out the wax pastels again. Not as much of a success this one. I even dubbed the one on the right 𝐬𝐨𝐜𝐚𝐥. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that does look like 𝐬𝐿𝐴𝐜𝐿 to me. And then I did something that I've done a couple of times because I'm really, really bad at mixing skin colors. I usually, and it always bites me in the ass, but I always try to do like the quick fix of using already mixed colors. So sometimes I sit down and I do studies where I try to mix different blends of the primaries, so red, yellow, and blue. And I just kind of take notes so that I can try to figure out how to do this. Apples. And tell your cat, I said, pss, 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 pss. These are very fun. I really like the little potty cat. He's sweet. He's cute. Some interesting pages. I kind of just I started off wanting to fill the entire page on the left with one color, realized that my metallic marker was running out, and then just went, well, let's just use all of them then. And then I have a star-shaped hole puncher. You can tell that the hole puncher doesn't reach the middle of the page. So I just punched a bunch of star-shaped holes into the edges of the paper. This is a really sad spread. I went to the Natural History Museum. Just know, if you're ever going to Oslo, I recommend the Natural History Museum. To be quite honest, there's a lot of rocks. So if you're not like really into rocks, you don't particularly need to like venture further into the right section of the museum. But they have some really cool exhibits. Enough about that. Let's talk about color blending again. As you can tell, still trying to figure out colors. I like the drawing on the right. In the scans, it doesn't show up well because it's highlighter. The yellow is highlighter, so it kind of just looks dull and grayed out. But it's yellow, red, and blue. I'm enjoying it, kind of in the same sense that I enjoy doing the marker portraits, the color pencil portraits, where I'm just kind of working not necessarily with realistic colors, but rather with the values. And then we reach what everyone has been waiting for, my line of action descent into madness. On day 5, I was so far behind. Like, I was like 2 days behind where I was supposed to be. I went on line of action and I just drew people. I just did still lives of people for like an hour. And it did fill pages like it needed to. Some of these are much better than others. Thank you, National Geographic, for existing for forever and having really, really talented photographers that take really cool photos that some Gen Z girl can cut up 40 years later. These are just patterns. Sometimes you need to just shut your brain off when you're doing these types of challenges, and it's no longer about trying to do anything good. You're just trying to fill pages, and doing patterns like these and shapes are a really great way of doing that without feeling like you want to off yourself. I'm using the same colors as earlier. Like, they're not like a really good color combination, but it was fun. It was a DIY paint by numbers, except you don't know the numbers. These portraits, not necessarily the one on the left, but the one on the right, very happy with them. They look good. They look nice. Do we remember how I talked about how foreshortening when drawing can sometimes just look like you're bad at proportions? We have a great visual of that on the right here. I look like I chopped off the bottom half of her legs and just made them, what, 2/3 of the length that they're supposed to be. She is bending her knees, but that is not clearly shown. So it just looks like I'm really, really bad at proportions. This was blind drawing, not on the right. Did in fact pay attention to the paper when I was doing that, but on the left. And if you only look at where the face is and the hair, I did some really good placement of specifically the hair and the face in relation to each other. I think the one on the left is supposed to be 𝐬𝐭𝐨𝐫𝐞. Doesn't look like him. The one on the right is fine. It's a really cool reference photo. And I did not do it justice because I could not be bothered to do anything cooler than using a singular pencil. This was also requested on Instagram. Someone said bird or fish. I said both. So I drew both a bird and a fish. When I drew it first, hated it. But like, this looks good. Like, this looks sick. I even, like, one of my friends messaged me and he was like, this looks really cool. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it does. This is a pumpkin. Every time I try to do a more, like, illustrative style of anything, I feel like a child dressing up in her parents' clothing. I don't know what I'm doing. I have for such a long time just been a strictly realism person that anytime I try to do anything slightly cartoony, I feel like a fraud. Okay, yep, another naked person. 2 more naked people. I guess I felt like I needed to just fill a couple of pages real quick. Line of action. do Line of Action do sponsorships? Never had a sponsor on this channel, but Line of Action, hey. The reference photo on the right is a really, really cool reference photo. But I'm working, again, with paper the size of my palm. Not doing it justice. Not doing it justice at all. Oh, bless him. Let's not look at the one on the left, alright? The one on the right, though, that looks so cool. Like, that looks sick. Even more, just crayon. Once again, like, not any control. No control over this. Just went in, and I'm like, well, I hope no one was expecting realism or details, because you're not getting it. Okay, the eyes are fucked up. They are not even, like, not even distant, not even adopted third cousins. Don't worry about it, but I don't hate it, because I like the colors. I made up a fish. All images, all photos in this sketchbook are from National Geographic. They are from a National Geographic magazine from like 1980 something. Then I made up some tile patterns. Do I like the color palette we are working with here? No, it is absolutely atrocious. Awful to look at. Even more, just tile patterns. And even more horrid color combos. And then I pulled out the 4-color pen again and did, I don't know what, the moment I'm doing hand studies with a pen for some reason, it looks good. Can't do it with a marker, can't do it with a pencil, but a ballpoint pen, there's something about a ballpoint pen. It makes a lot of things just look better than they necessarily are. And then I went rogue and just started scribbling. I did an entire alphabet. Then I did a little, I don't know, it's like a logo idea for myself. I'm never going to use that logo. Then I did squiggles. Then I made up some skylines. These look surprisingly good. I made up a cafe, and then I drew the current view that I had in front of me. I was sitting at the library. I did remove the person that sat in front of me because I felt like she didn't deserve to be a part of this. She hasn't done anything to me. I just kind of deleted her. Then I did even more patterns and another fucking alphabet. I don't know. I was running out of ideas, I guess. Then I moved from the library to a cafe, and I sat at that cafe and I drew people as they were walking past the cafe window, and it was so much fun. I have not done it since. If you are feeling like you just want to get out of the house and you want to fill up pages in your sketchbook, it's a Pentel brush sign pen in both green and black. They are brush pens, like the tips they don't have a lot of give to them, so you can get different line weights, but like it's not, you have a lot of control. It's very, very fun. I recommend it highly to everyone. Sit down at a window and just draw people as they pass. It is surprisingly easy for some reason to get the proportions, in a sense at least, right, and you don't need a lot of details. You learn very quickly what information is important and what isn't. Like, faces, not important. Like, are they wearing a hat? What shape are the jacket? And how are their legs moving? And then you're done. That's all you need. Highly recommend. Very fun. Then I got back home and I got my hands on my trusted all colored pencils. Love the drawing on the right. The ones on the left, I messed up her proportions. Don't worry about it. But the one on the right is very cute. She's very sweet. Went on to draw more portraits with colored pencils. Even did a silly goose, and it's so silly that it's not even a goose. It is, in fact, a swan. The drawing on the right I've drawn before, and every now and then she pops back up and I'm like, hello. And then this is the final spread. I'm really glad that I ended with a good drawing. Like, I really, really like the drawing that I did on this page. I got the expression down pretty well, and then I just glued the word don't on the final page, and I thought that was funny. And with that, we reach the end of the sketchbook. Thank you so much to everyone who joined me for both the sketchbook tour and for the vlog that accompanied it. I will now send you back to 𝐬𝐨 from, well, I've already filmed the intro and outro, so 𝐬𝐨 from the past for me. Good night. Hi, and welcome to the end of the video. There's maybe 3 of you left. How nice of you. At some point, I'm going to leave, like, some really important information or a discount code or something that everyone's going to feel real bad about missing out on in the end of a video, because honestly I'm kind of a vengeful person and it pisses me off that not everyone wants to hear every single thought and opinion I have until the last second of the video. Do I watch until the end of every single video from all other creators? Of course I don't. Of course I don't, are you insane? It has been a joy to keep you company through the sketchbook tour, and now look at us, we're best friends. I'm so sick and I'm so congested. I hope everyone feels really bad for me. I love sympathy points. Goodbye.